There is a water fountain near the restroom through that door.
Okay.
We'll go till about 11:50, 11:45, 11:50.
And then I can ask another question. Yeah. So I'm a yogi, right. So there's a specific type of breath they talk about in Samadhi and the Yoga Sutras, where the breath is kind of regulated, right? So prana. And then I know in certain Vipassana styles, you don't try to control the breath, you just observe the breath. So what's your guidance with regard to breath in this practice?
In our practice, we're not trying to control it, we're just observing.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I'll introduce myself. My name's Jason. I'm a student here at Dawn Mountain. I've been visiting and practicing for, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something along those lines. We've been in person again here this year since about March, so we're really happy about that. I've been studying Buddhism since I was in college. Very interested in the textual tradition. I lived in Taiwan 5 years. Learned how to read a lot of the Chinese material too. So that's a little bit about my background. What our plan here is today is we're going to open by reading the aspiration, including Shantideva's 2 lines underneath the 4 boundless thoughts. We'll take a little time to settle in to our seat. And the practice we'll do today is alternating between observing the breath and a practice that was taught to us by Azam Rinpoche that involves chanting the syllable hung. We'll chant in one breath, we'll chant hung twice. So hung, hung, something like this. Doesn't have to be any particular length. We'll all kind of do it our own way. And we'll alternate between those 2 practices. And then we'll briefly read and discuss an excerpt from Pema Chodron's Comfortable with Uncertainty. This is a book with 108 little 1-page chapters. So we'll discuss that. We'll again alternate between the breath and observing the breath and the chanting. And finally, we'll dedicate our merit to the names in this book and to all living beings. So if there's anyone you'd like to put in here, feel free. And yeah, Shane, if you can let us know if there's any names from online that come across. Okay, so that being said, let's get rolling. We'll start with the aspiration. May all beings always have happiness and its causes. May all beings always be free of pain and its causes. May all beings always be pain-free and live happily. May no beings ever cling to those near nor spurn those far. For as long as space abides, as long as the world remains, Just so long may I be there, resolving all beings' pain. And take a minute to find a balanced, comfortable spot in your chair. We'll want to keep our back erect but not stiff. You can place your tongue at behind your teeth at the roof of your mouth. You can leave our eyes open, glancing maybe 3 feet in front of us in an unfocused way. And feel yourself, your support that comes from the seat that you're on, from indeed the earth itself underneath. Directly beneath us is the center of the earth, and that's a support for us. Also, our skeletal structure, our spine and bones support us and give us a way to relax. We can settle into our seat and just relax all our muscles. We're also supported by our central channel, this kind of energy corridor that runs through the center of our body, along the backbone. That's especially, let's say, sensitive, or can be felt a few finger widths below the navel and inside the belly. Just take a moment to, in this relaxed, open, and curious state, just observe the in and out breathing. We can observe it from the tip of our nostrils or from that point in the belly. We'll spend a few minutes just watching the breath in and out. When the mind wanders, just gently bring your attention back to the breath. Now, have the chant practice.
I don't know what happened. I will text Shane. He said his Zoom lost connection and he's working to get it back. Shane has said the Zoom completely disconnected and it is not coming back. So we can just meditate, I guess. Nice to see all of you.
Let's bring our attention back to the breath. Everyone wants to take stretch or relax. Yeah, I was going to take that. How was that?
Could you speak a little bit to the hum, like this syllable, and the purpose? Or yeah, either of you, I suppose.
Hung. The syllable is in the teachings an expression of Buddha mind. And so the thought is in chanting Buddha mind, we are resonating with Buddha mind. We're aspiring to Buddha mind. We are expressing Buddha mind. We are trying to allow Buddha mind to manifest in our experience. So it's all of the above. It's a manner of accessing deep spiritual realization via a mantra.
Okay, while the book's going around, I will start by reading the excerpt. Today we're reading chapter 16, the Dharma. The Dharma, the Buddha's teaching, is about letting go of the storyline and opening to what is, to the people in our life, to the situations we're in, to our thoughts, to our emotions. We have a certain life, and whatever life we're in is a vehicle for waking up. Often, we hear the teachings so subjectively that we think we're being told what is true and what is false. But the Dharma never tells us what is true or what is false. It just encourages us to find out for ourselves. However, because we have to use words, we make statements. For example, we say, the everyday practice is simply to develop complete acceptance of all situations, emotions, and people. That sounds like to do this is what's true, and not to do this would be false. But that's not what it means. What it means is that we could find out for ourselves what is true and what is false. Try to live that way and see what happens. You'll come up against all your doubts and fears and hopes, and you'll grapple with that. When you start to live that way, with that sense of, what does this really mean? You'll find it quite interesting. After a while, you forget that you're even asking the question. You just practice meditation, or you just live your life, and you have insight, a fresh take on what is true. Insight comes suddenly, as though you've been wandering around in the dark, and someone switches on all the lights and reveals a palace. It's been there all along. It feels as if we're discovering something that no one else ever knew, and yet it's completely straightforward and simple. There's a couple things that grab my attention here. Whatever life we're in is a vehicle for waking up. Very often we want to have a certain kind of, we imagine that if we have just the right kind of supports in our life, just the right level of, not dealing with stress and personal relationships are going smoothly, then we'll then have the environment that we need to cultivate our spiritual life. But in reality, it's exactly the messiness of it that is giving us the tools we need to have some different understanding, different relationship with our experience. So there's not a particular set of calm and luxury that'll give us the environment we're looking for. In the second paragraph, Pema says, the everyday practice is simply to develop complete acceptance of all situations, emotions, and people, which is, of course, not really all that simple of a thing to do, even if it's conceptually not complicated. She says, the Dharma never tells us what is true or what is false. But then we have all these other terms in Buddhism, like the Four Noble Truths, or we talk about right conduct, right livelihood, right speech. This does sound like there's some sort of a conflict between that terminology and what's laid out here. But I think what Pema Chodron is emphasizing is that it's the experience that we have that is the ultimate arbiter of reality. There's a sutra in Pali called the Kalama Sutta, where the Buddha is answering some questions from some lay practitioners, and they ask, how are we supposed to figure out what teachings to follow? What's the appropriate way to live? And the Buddha says, don't take the authority. Let's say there's a practice that your ancestors have practiced. That's not the authority that we want to count on. Or let's say it's just the way it was always done, or the way the king likes to do it, or even the way that I said is a good way to practice. He said, don't take any of these authorities' words for it. Be like a goldsmith examining gold, rubbing it, checking the shine, feeling the hardness of it, maybe even biting it with your teeth. Put your own experience at the center and see what teachings are true and which ones aren't. And this is not a nihilist idea that whatever I want is correct, is the way to go. It's that, these trainings or these teachings that the Buddha has presented are there for you to try out, to really experience. It's not a matter of memorizing a doctrine or accepting what's been written down. She points out, after a while, you forget you're even asking the question of what does this mean, of developing that complete acceptance, that you have insight, a fresh take on what is new. It comes suddenly as though you've been wandering around in the dark and someone switches on all the lights and reveals a palace. It's been there all along. And that's definitely a part of Buddhist teaching, that we all have this capacity to develop our compassion, our wisdom, and to experience the way things really are. As she points out, what is if we're not experiencing the way things really are, what are we experiencing? We're experiencing the story that we've made up, the narrative that we use to, create some safety for ourselves. This is the story of Jason and who he is and what he does. That always runs up against life, where we're always challenged by the fact that things are ever changing. And since we were lucky enough to have Lama Namgyal here today, I'd also like to ask him for some insight.
Well, I'd like to hear also from the audience, but I would just say that, Lama Rigzin and myself have, over the last, I don't know what it is, 6 to 8 years, been studying a very, very fancy approach to self-exploration called microphenomenology, but really the reading today is exactly what one does in microphenomenology, and that is, and I think in deep Buddhist practice, and that is what is going on. And there's a kind of interesting tension ultimately between teachings, guidance, and learning to appreciate what is really going on. But ultimately, really, we need to, as she says, get away from all of our preconceptions and really taste what true experience is, which is really, really a challenge. And so it's utterly simple to describe, but actually challenging to experience, namely just the purity of what is really, really occurring to us without all of the stories. So I would leave my words there, but I'm just wondering if anything comes up for anyone, either here or there, on screen or here in the room. Question or observation?
So are we being encouraged to, thank you. So are we encouraged or not to believe in something, or there's nothing to believe in?
You know, my sense is, yeah, the intent of the chapter is not to tell us that there is no practice that we'll find helpful. There is no difference between wholesome or unwholesome actions, or to say that actions don't have consequences. But it's that we need to really see for ourselves. We need to put our focus on what's happening to us in order to truly appreciate why some actions are wholesome and help us cultivate the states we're after, and why other actions are unwholesome and don't lead to the result we're looking for. That I can't gain that knowledge just by having read it. I've got to experience it for myself.
Experience versus belief.
Yeah, experience versus belief. That's right.
Yeah, I think you've stated the core issue in a way, and both of you have, I think, articulated it. Clearly, Buddhism is a tradition with teachings, with truths, and at the same time, you know, I think if you were going to a cooking school, ideally it would be the same attitude, namely, here's this great chef, got a great reputation. I'm going to go in and hear what this chef has to say about cooking, but I'm going to cook this damn thing and see if it works. And I'm going to withhold judgment until I've actually, tasted the food that I've cooked. And I think that's sort of the attitude. It's not just, oh, there are 4 truths and now I'm a parrot and I'm going to parrot the 4 truths in the Eightfold Path, and it's useless. We try something on, and if it makes some sense, we have some investment in taking it to heart. And ultimately, the test is, how does this sit in our body? How does it sit in our emotions? But it's a very, very interesting intersection between faith, belief, experience. Yeah, it's important to keep talking about.
Well, if there's nothing else, just for the time, We'll have one more session, alternating breathing and chanting. Then we'll prepare to close. So prepare to relax and focus on the breath with some curiosity. Hey guys, right before we close here, just wanted to review a couple of announcements. Tuesday, September 19th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. We have the second of a 7-week series titled Awakened Heart. What's Love Got to Do with it? There's no cost for full members of Dawn Mountain, and the class is otherwise $40 a month. Starting Tuesday, September 26th through October 24th, we have a program titled Buddhist Mindfulness, Attention, and the True You. This will be taught by Claire Virial online and in person. The series is $35. Introductory, and then of course what you attended this morning at 10:30, our introductory class on Buddhism in India and Tibet. Great complimentary opportunity for all curious people with Lama Namgyal Dorje that will continue every Sunday at 10:30 a.m.
So this coming Tuesday and the Tuesday after, we're having our teachings at Covenant Baptist Church in the Fellowship Hall, and they're live. And for everybody who is in the Houston area, we encourage you to come on down. And Kaisu, I'm expecting you from Amsterdam. Please come. Yeah, so it's live, and we're meeting live, and we really appreciate meeting live. And Covenant Baptist Church is a beautiful setting for us. It's in the Fellowship Hall. So the third Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday, and then starting in October, we'll be having our classes there, both ours and then Claire's classes will be there as well.
And we never turn anyone away for lack of funds. If you'd like to attend anyway, you can always reach out to Jerry, info@dawnmountain.org. All right, let's prepare for our dedication and blessing. And we dedicate the merit of our practice today to all living beings.
We also have a retreat on refuge, September 29th through the 1st of October. And that is actually open to everyone. If you're not part of Dzogchen Cycles, we ask for fill out a form, which is on the website. But if you're interested in the practice of Buddhist refuge, this would be a wonderful opportunity, and it will be, that's a virtual teaching only.
Very good. So we dedicate our merit for today to all living beings, and especially to Doug McGregor, Johnny and Sarah McGregor, Ramana and Keith Harding, Don Peak, Gary Pugh, John Huck, Becky Nicholas, Deborah Usery and Bardo, Beta's husband Adam Bardo, Sharon Stern in the Bardo, Stephen Suarez, Sejin, Ming Hon, Uncle Hon, Lao Feng Ying, Wak Mei Yuk, Wang Mei Tai, Wang Mei Ling, Hon Xin Lung, Tom, Steve, John and Karen, Bishop, Kirk, Hafiz, Miv Muhammad, Zahid, Daniel, Lily, Arani, Willow, Erica, Rebecca, Fazil, Ataz, Arjume, Sumra, Shakid, Yasmin, John Namaloni, pancreatic cancer, Dean, Gin, Jean, Galena, Nick and family, Kaisu's brother and family, Frizzle the horse, our teachers, our Sangha, and all those who died in the floods in Libya. By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that very ground. With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love wisdom shine within us, everyone, till we all rise born forth in one enlightened mandala. Thank everyone for your time this morning.
Thank you.
There are snacks. Gotta love that.